Business Brain, the show for entrepreneurs, episode 509 for Casual Friday, December 15th, 2023. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take a concept, a thought, an idea, we analyze it, we discuss it, we dissect it, all in the interest of tuning our collective business brains together here. Sponsors for this episode include Miro.com/podcast. That's where you can go to get your first 3 Miro boards for free forever. We'll talk about what those are in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And out in Northern California, I'm Shannon Jean. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good. You know, rocking and rolling. That's how we go. Yeah.
We go. Hey, when we started, we did the pre-show here. You mentioned a topic that I thought was interesting because I hadn't heard this concept before. So I'd love for you to explain it to me. And you said, always ask for the no.
Oh, yeah.
That's related to when you're selling something, right? Is that
correct?
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what that means. Tell me.
Yeah. So it's a little counterintuitive, and that's why I like saying it that way, because you don't want people to say no to you when you're trying to sell to them, right?
Yes, correct.
The goal is for them to say yes. But also, we seasoned sellers of things here know, or at least we're about to learn, that if you make 20 phone calls and you get 19 rejections, 19 no's, that's success, right? Because you make 20 phone calls, you got one sale. That's fine. Well, you have to get to that 20th call, right? Like you have to do all 20 calls in order for that to work. And in some businesses, it's not 1 out of 20 turns into a sale. It's 1 out of 100 or something like that. So you know that you're going to get 19 or 99 no's. You have to get them in order to you have to get each one of them in order to be able to talk to the next person. And that's why I say it's really important at a point in your sales process to ask for the no. And by that, I mean, sometimes I literally will tell people, hey, look, I did it earlier today. Matt Geekab is going out to CES next month to Las Vegas for the CES conference. We're going to cover all that, and we do this every year. It's great, and we have sponsorship opportunities open for that. Well, I'm in the process of, we have a few locked in, and we're working on getting some more. And there's some people that are on the fence. I have to get them off the fence, because otherwise I'm going to keep following up with them and they will keep consuming my time. Yeah, right. And that's going to keep me from getting to the person that's going to say yes. It might be one of them.
Push them a bit.
You got to push them. And the only way I can push is towards the no. I can't push you towards the yes. I can lure you towards the yes, and lure, like that has negative connotations. It's not. It's like
persuade.
Persuade. Yeah. I can show you value that hopefully makes you say yes. But if it is not the right time for your business, it doesn't matter what I show you. If it's going to be a no, it's going to be a no. And a lot of people, and I've been in this business a long time. There's people I'm reaching out to that I've known for, a decade or 2 decades. Some of them don't want to say no to me, right? But they can't say yes.
Yeah.
And I'm good at relationships. And so I know that some people are going to hesitate to say no. And they don't mean to drag me on, but it is human nature to be like, well, I don't want to disappoint this person, but I haven't said yes yet. Don't think I'm gonna. And so I will push people towards a no. I did it to somebody today. I'm like, hey, I know I haven't heard back from you. Saying no is totally fine. I just want to check in. I want to make sure you're not missing this opportunity. But if it's a no, it's totally good.
I like it.
And I immediately got a no from them. But I've also done that and immediately gotten a yes from somebody. Because when you start pushing for the no, what you're really doing is pushing them towards a decision.
Yes,
now,
correct.
Right? That's really what you're doing.
To save you time and your effort.
Bingo.
So you can focus on a more productive call to the next client that
correct.
That may be a yes.
Yeah, and it might be that call. That might be the productive one. I don't know, right? But I that's the thing is I don't know until they've made a decision. Now, sometimes I'll push for a no And what I'll get in response is a clarifying question. Some people are tire kickers. Some people everyone needs a certain amount of information to make a business decision. And so, at that point, I will evaluate. It's like, okay, well, that's great. In sales, the goal always is you put it, you, the person to whom I'm selling, you put it on the table. I take it off. Tell me what your objections are. Let me address them. So, we'll go through some rounds of that, but sometimes it's just like, hey, look, you're asking a lot of questions. I think I've given you everything that exists about this. If it's a no, that's totally fine.
It comes with experience. I think a new salesperson they're doing everything to try to keep the fish on the hook, right? And do it.
No, you only got one hook.
Yeah,
that's right.
But you're missing out on those other opportunities.
All the other fish are swimming by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always ask for the no. I love it.
All right. Imagine designing a product that not only users adore, but also makes you fall in love with the creative process. This is where our sponsor Miro steps in, transforming your design journey into a connected, collaborative adventure. Picture this. Miro's visual platform becomes your playground to build that essential product. It's where your ideas take shape, incorporating key user needs every step of the way. Get real-time feedback, understand what clicks and what doesn't, and iterate rapidly. Miro is your go-to workspace for continuous improvement. Now, think about brainstorming with your team, gathering valuable feedback, and creating product experiences with a sprinkle of magic. All of this is possible in Miro. Make your findings visual and easy to grasp. Centralize your research on a single Miro board, creating a hub for your team to connect, discuss, and build comprehensive presentations. With Miro, customer perspectives are no longer a puzzle. Use hundreds of templates, including journey maps, to lead discussions and brainstorm improvements. Miro's infinite canvas is your realm to explore user needs and innovations. What's more, gather inspiration effortlessly. Drop images, GIFs, videos, and even audio on your board. Miro makes building lo-fi wireframes a breeze, offering a collaborative space to shape early concepts swiftly. And the best part, you can critique and refine designs in one shared space. Leave feedback asynchronously, ensuring everyone's voice is heard. And guess what? Your first 3 Miro boards are free forever when you sign up. Don't wait. Bring your ideas to life. Sign up today at Miro.com/podcast. Again, Miro.com/podcast. And our thanks to Miro for sponsoring this episode. All right, Shannon, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
It truly is a what if. I don't want to scare anybody here. Imagine, though, if I told you today that in the next month or two, I'm going to stop doing this podcast.
Yeah, that would be, I would adapt.
Right.
But I'm definitely better with a partner. The way we've, kind of built this show, and even really this show is just you and I talking about stuff we've talked about for 25 years, right?
Correct.
I mean, there's no, we decide the topics 15 minutes before we go.
I mean, they evolve over the week.
Yeah, of course.
We narrow it down.
Slack.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
yep.
I would continue to do it unless there was something. Well, we're not talking about like a business perspective, like, hey, I'm a partner, now you got to buy me out.
No.
Nothing like that. Just
nope.
What would happen? Got it.
Yeah, if I was saying I'm going to leave and you owe me nothing, essentially.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I would continue it by myself, maybe for a while, or I would change the format. I don't know. It'd be challenging. It'd be something different that would definitely require some thinking and some changes.
So for the last 2 months, I have been going through exactly that, because it was 2 months ago that Paul Kent, my co-host of Gig Gab, a show that we started, we launched the first episode of Gig Gab on February 19th, the same exact day that we launched the first episode of this almost 9 years ago. So
time flies.
Yeah.
And you guys were, Apple recommended you're like in the top 20 music podcasts or something like that.
Yeah. And Spotify recommended us too. Yep.
It's killer.
Yep. Yeah. It's great. The show is great. We have a loyal listener base. We get a lot of interaction.
You really enjoy doing it?
I love doing it for a variety of reasons. I mean, I love the interaction with the listeners, but even if we didn't have listeners, the idea of talking about music for an hour a week.
Stop right there. That's the key. Even if we didn't have listeners,
right,
I would still want to have this conversation. And
correct.
I feel the same about this concept.
Correct. Same.
I want to talk about this stuff. I'm very selfish in that sense that I want to enjoy doing it. So, it certainly would change things.
But I don't have a co-host. Like I'm like you. Yeah. I think that I am best when I have someone to talk with and bounce ideas off of and listen to and converse with.
Yeah, I think so.
But I don't have an automatic for that show for Gig Gab. I don't have an automatic like this is the obvious person that will make sense not just to me but to our listeners. Like here they are. Let's slot them in.
Here's what I would do. The first thing I would do is I would hire an assistant.
Yeah,
because you're going to take a bunch of new tasks on board.
Yep.
You almost need like a producer, but they don't necessarily, since you know the technical part of it, you don't have to have somebody that's sophisticated enough.
I've been doing all of the production of Gig Gab.
Correct.
Like unlike what you and I do here where we split it up.
You do.
Paul shows up. He's essential. I don't want to you're not from a technical standpoint. He's essentially like a guest in that, and it's totally fine. I'm used to doing this. I've done it with Mac Geek Gab for 18 years. It's not a big deal. So it's not like I'm losing that part of it. It is that it truly is the content portion of the show, and also I don't get to talk to my friend every week. And he's leaving the show because his schedule just makes the show impossible. There's no other reason. Like he loves doing it too. Yeah. So
assistant, and then I would. Using your 2-week experiment concept, which if you don't know what that is, you should go up to businessbrain.show and search for 2 weeks because it's really a powerful thing. But I would probably obviously extend it out in this case since you're not trying to convince anybody. So maybe it's 2 months or 3 months or something. But I would try different things. But
that's what I'm going to do. And there's some things that I haven't talked about to our audience. Some of them are going to be a surprise. But my current, at first I was like, well, maybe I can find a host that I can just drop in as a replacement because it's easy.
Yeah.
I don't have to book. You and I, we book our calendar for months out, but we only have to talk to one person to do it. Yeah. Now, to book my calendar for months out, I need to talk to 10 people to do it. Really, I probably need to talk to 25 because 15 of them are going to say no, right? So
yeah, that's right. So that's where I think the assistant is
already
crucial.
Have it.
Yeah, that's because then you can continue to focus on the content and creative side of things, which may take. Your focus can stay there instead of just, the nuts and bolts of some of the scheduling and different things like that. And then I would just try different things. I mean, if I were starting a new podcast today, the format that I would do is I would do a daily show. And whether it was 10 minutes or 15 minutes, kind of like we do this 15, I think us changing to a twice weekly format has been great. I mean, our obviously our listeners like it more, our engagement's much higher, and trying new things, and now streaming it. We'll see how this works out. But the daily thing I think is great because it allows you to make mistakes and iterate faster,
very quickly.
Because we did it once a week, and it probably took us years in some cases to make changes that had we been doing things on a faster run rate, it's like the fruit fly. Fruit fly has a 24-hour life cycle. Yeah. And that's why they use them in scientific experiments, right? Because it's easy to modify. Well, so doing it quick allows you to iterate, and I would certainly do it more than once a week, but that may introduce, different challenges for you since you're just adjusting this thing now. So
yeah. No, I'm going to leave it weekly for now. And I've got the general plan is we have found, especially over the last year, that our listeners really like it when we have a guest on.
Nice. Yeah.
And the reason they like it is because it brings fresh perspectives into the show. That show, I think more than this show, that show has become, it's easy for us to wind up rehashing things because we're just doing the same thing over and over again. We're going out, we're playing gigs, right?
Yeah.
So getting different perspectives in, getting different people's experiences in really is a good thing. And so there have been a few guests that we've had, especially this past year, that have just been like great guests. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What if I have that person on once every 6 weeks? And what if I have 4 people that I'm having on once every 6 weeks each, right? And now I've got this ongoing conversation because people do like that consistency. Our listeners have told us, but also it leaves me room to bring in one-offs. Now, maybe one of these one-offs becomes a regular, or maybe it's just a one-off and that's okay too. And, is there a world where one of these regulars becomes so regular that they become a co-host? Maybe. There's no plan for that, but it's not against the rules. Like, like if it works out. Yeah, right. Exactly. The one thing that I've never done is a solo episode on I've been podcasting 18 and a half years and I've never done a solo episode. So,
I did one Business Brain when you were out one week, and I said, I'll just talk about it and do it.
Oh, that's right.
Right. And it was interesting. I'm working on this. I have this new book in process called Escaping Employment.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I've done at the end of each chapter is I've done an audio log, because there may be some fine tuning or finessing on a topic that I want to discuss or too long didn't read type concept. And so speaking into the mic and recording those things, I mean, I think you would do great on a solo show.
I do. I've done little one-offs like the videos that we'll do at CES where it's like, okay, here's a product I'm going to tell you about, or like I do on TikTok sometimes, like those kinds of things. I'm getting more comfortable with those. They are not in my comfort zone yet, but that's okay. And so there will likely be segments, if not entire episods of Gig Gab that are, solo Dave. And I'm going to experiment with that too.
That's great. I read a comment this morning that I really thought was powerful, is that if there's not an edge of fear to whatever you're doing, you're probably not pushing yourself far enough. And I really is like, man, that's so true.
It sucks that it's true.
It is suck, but it's that crisis of complacency or whatever, where you just get kind of in this thing and everything. So if it makes you nervous and worries you a little bit, I think that's great. The last thing I'll say about this podcast concept, if you're a small business owner, one of the easiest ways to connect with people is to have a podcast up on your website and to talk, and even to interview your clients and ask them for audio reviews, verbal reviews, whatever it is. It's just one more way to connect with your customers and your employees, and to also have your employees come in and talk about what they're working on, and to we did that last episode, your noble cause. It's a chance for you to connect with people on a different level from all aspects: employee, vendor, supplier, banker, whatever. Talking about your business and the way it works, and getting that, just like we did today, talking about Gig Gab. It's just a huge benefit.
Business therapy, man.
Yeah, and it's so inexpensive and easy to do.
Yep.
You really need to do it. If you have questions, feedback at businessbrain.show.
I have a question, Shannon.
Yeah.
What are we going to name this episode?
Oh, that's true.
Normally, Shannon, we all have our different workflows. Normally, you come up with the title before we record to sort of set the stage.
I really like this slight edge of fear.
Yeah, but did we really talk about?
No.
Okay, but that to me is a future episode. Yeah.
What are we going to call it? Something about adapting to change or adapting to.
Yeah.
It's
I don't think I have found in this comes from running Mac Observer for 25 years. We found that discussing verbally a title that is meant to be heard, or is it meant to be read rather, not heard, is a fool's errand. So we would do this in staff meetings where it was like, okay, this is what the article is going to be about. We would get to the point where like the seed of the title was there, the adapting to change or whatever. And that's immediately where we would, even if we remained on the call, everybody would get silent. We would all sort of revert to our Slack room and just start typing examples and iterating that way, because seeing it is the way. So, so something about adapting to change.
Adapting
I like
to change,
this.
but sexier. So I'll
sexier,
work on,
right?
Yeah,
That's
I got that.
Yeah,
That's great. That's all I need, because when I go to get the show up on, when I do the processing of it, that'll cue me up. So that's great.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I'm excited about new stuff coming your way, and I know you'll be successful at whatever.
I'm scared. It's like
good.
not petrified.
No.
Yeah. Like the appropriate amount of scared, but it's like it's because I care, right? Like it's I don't have stage fright when I go on stage usually, but I am always a little anxious. I have those butterflies, but that's a good thing. It's like, we're doing something here.
Anxiousness and worry, get it behind you, and it pushes you forward.
It pushes, exactly. Yeah.
Right on. Great.
Thanks for hanging out with us,
everybody.
folks. Feedback at businessbrain.show. And like he said, have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out with us on Casual Friday. And pay attention to Gig Gab to see what I'm doing over there. It'll be fun. Have a good weekend. Keep living that charmed life.